Well, we are back on this big job, and I'm in the middle of starting all the wainscoting in this place. I had mentioned this in another video, but I'll recap it with you here. The main part of this main room here gets wainscoting about 60 inches high all the way around. And here I'll show you what it's going to look like. Let's see here. Let me move this door out of the way here. This is what it's going to look like. It comes up from the baseboard, comes all the way up to about 60 inches high, and it gets a little 1x2 on the top for a ledger. This is going to go all the way down this wall and wrap all the way around, and it's going to tie into the kitchen here and then come back around here. It's going to go throughout the foyer. And it's going to go all the way up the stairs in the upstairs foyer area. And it's going to be the same height in the upstairs foyer area all the way around the stairwell. Now, they want wood paneling inside these parts right here. And they said either butt it and get a tight joint, but as you can see, even with a square, it's almost impossible to get an exact tight fit. You can do it, but when you have 50 to 60, according here, anyways, when you have about 50 to 60 panels that you're going to have to make exactly right, that's a lot of precision per panel, which eats up a lot of time. In production, you can't do anything like that. You've got to get, this is custom, granted it is custom, but my boss needs me on other jobs, so I can't spend a month on this job. So I have to push this through as best I know how. And I've come up with a system. Now, these doorways already have casing on them. Now, I'd probably pop them off. But what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to pop these off. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rabbet these, because they don't want this to be pulled out away from the door frame. Because if I lay this flat on a wall and then put the 1x over it, you'll see the edge of this along here. Sure, you could caulk it, but it's not going to be a very good job. So what I'm going to do is I brought my router table here, and it's right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rabbet the back side of every piece that goes on the wall, so that this lays flush to the back side of the wood, and it gives me a perfect reveal on every panel. I'll be able to slide it in from the top and put it in place. That way I can have almost 1/8 of an inch play or better, so I can cut my paneling smaller, so it gives me enough room to be as inaccurate as I want to be, just as long as it doesn't come out past, the edge of the wood, of course. But I have to do that to all the baseboard, which is what this one is. This is the baseboard here, and as you can see, it sits flush to the back side of it, so when it goes against the wall, Let me see here if you can get a closer look here. It's flush. So when it goes against, this part goes against the wall, it will keep the panel tight to the wall. I'll explain this a little bit more in depth when I start putting some together. But yeah, this is what I've got to do for each and every piece. And it's I feel the best way, and you'll get a cleaner look that way. Cleaner and tighter look. So let me get after it here. I've got a lot of work ahead of me. I'll put you on, well, maybe not time lapse. I'll do the time lapse in editing. But here. Okay, now this house has receptacles in the baseboard, so that means we have to cut out the receptacle boxes. Here, I'll show you right here. The baseboard is going to go up like that, and we've got to cut out this box in this baseboard, so that when they put all the parts in there and put the cover on it, it looks nice and clean. So how I do that is I cut my board to length, and then what I'll do is I will lay my board. Let me see if I can get this all with one hand here. What I do is I cut my board to length. See, it fits tight where the flint block is. Goes all the way to this corner. And then what I do is I will take my straight edge or my small square, and I'll make a mark on the board on either side of this box. And I'll do that for that receptacle, this receptacle, and that's how I do it for every box hole there is. And then I measure up from the floor up to the bottom of this box and to the top of the box. And I transfer that measurement from the bottom of the baseboard to the top of the box and the bottom of the box. And then I make my mark. Then I bring it back up to the bench. There we go. Bring it back up to the bench, and I take my square and I transfer my mark straight up, and then I draw a straight line, and then the bottom of the box, and I mark it bottom and top. That way I know which orientation this board is. And that's where I make my marks there, and then I take my straight edge and I draw a square, That's where the box, that's what's got to be cut out. This right here has got to be cut out. So you got to cut on this side of the line, on every line. And I will show you how I'm going to do that. I use my circular saw, my cordless circular saw, or a regular circular saw. I wouldn't suggest this to anybody unless they have a little bit more experience, because this is the back side of the board. So it's all right if you cut a little past the lines on either side, just as long as you don't cut past these lines on this side, on the underside, because that's the side that they'll see. So you have to get pretty skilled to know where your blade is on the other side of this board. You have to pay attention. So what I usually do is I plunge it down in there to where it's at the line on either side. My cut is on either side of this line, and then I pull my saw back out and I look down into the crack of the saw mark that I made, the saw cut, and I see how far I have to go further. So let's just say if I make that plunge and the cut line on the other side is right there, I know I need to go 3/4 of an inch past this line on either side to make it to this line on the other side of the board. Let me set this up a little bit here. Let me see if I can get you over here. Let's see if you'll be able to see what I'm doing here. All right. Now I always clamp my work down. I use a clamp so that my board's good and sturdy. There you go. Let's put you right in front. Now, I hold my guard up, and I'm cutting on the inside of this line, on the inside of the box. All right. Now, you can't see any daylight down in there, so that means that we've got to go a little bit deeper, which means it's going to go past this line on either side, but you don't want to go so deep that the cut from the underside of the board is going to go past that line. So you just got to feather it in a little bit. Let me put you over here, see if you can see what I'm doing here. Better yet, let me see if I can put a board here for you. Let's see here. So you can get a better look at what I'm doing here. Let's see if you can see that. Okay, now I can see daylight. You can probably see my hand moving underneath there. Now I can see that this cut makes it right to this line right here, and on the other side of the board. And I can see through here that it's on this line on the other side of the board too. See how I have to cut past these lines a little bit? It's usually about 1 inch before you know, to where you'll make the mark. Now the sides are a little bit different because there's less room. So you will wind up probably we'll find out, either wider or shorter. We'll see. Let me make this cut here, and then I'll put you on these ones. I'll show you those. Now, do you see where I'm cutting on the other side of the line? This is the side of my line, so I'm cutting on the inside of the box so that I'm not, you know, so that all my measurements are correct. Let me see if I can get you right here. Now, let's flip this board over and see what we got. Okay, now you can see that I didn't connect the lines, but I didn't. That's okay. I can cut these little connection points out. Or I can actually break it off. And then I can take my razor knife and I can clean these corners up. And that way this box is the same size, perfect size as the electrical box. Let me cut the other one and then I'll put this board in place and I'll show you. Okay, now I've got the board in place. I'll show you how the box looks. Got a nice tight cut, and the baseboard's tight to the floor. So it's and as you can see, there's a routed groove I put for the paneling. Let's take our little test piece and see, the paneling will go right behind there. When this is getting nailed to the wall, it's going to be a nice tight joint right there. Now I'll never have to worry about it. It'll always be good. I don't have to worry about it separating. See, if I just butt to it, maybe this would be move. This would move or something like that, and then it may create a crack there. With this, it's going to be nailed to the studs. It's going to be tight to the paneling, and it'll always be like that. So what I do here is to nail this off. On my studs. And I just carry it on all the way down the wall, just like that. Okay, now there is another way that you can cut these corners out a little bit cleaner instead of using a razor knife. I use a cut-all tool like this, and all I do is just connect the dots, connect the corners, and they buzz right out. Nice and clean. Okay, here's the finished product. Nice square box. Now it's okay if you got just a little bit of an, extra cut, because the receptacle cover covers this almost 5/16 of an inch all the way around. So if you have just a little bit of a nick in there, the plug cover will cover it. It'll cover that. So, but that's how you do it. I've got the baseboard all rabbited out, the groove cut out of it and secured to the wall. I'm going to make a mark where the bottom of my 1x6 that goes along the top goes. Now I'm going to do that. You probably won't see it can't see it in the camera. Let me see if you can. Yeah, I don't think you can see it, but there is a laser line right here. I had a 360 laser right here, which means it shoots a line 360 degrees around the whole perimeter. So that will entitle me to have the same height all the way around this whole room here. It'll be exactly the same height. And then that will probably create a little bit more work for me, because all my uprights will probably be different heights, but so be it. If that's what it takes because that one there is going to be at eye level. And I'm going to want that to be pristine. I want that to be exactly level all the way around the whole perimeter. If I have to cut my uprights, it goes in between the baseboard and that, every one different, and so be it. That's the nature of the beast. I'm going to have to do it. A lot of people wouldn't probably go to that extreme, but these people are extremely conscious of these things, and they pick them out. They pick out things from pictures and have us change them. So yeah, I have to be extremely careful of what I do and make sure everything that I do is all to the correct, measurements and pleasing to the eye. So what I'm doing is the laser level is at the bottom of my mark, the bottom of that 1x6. So what I did is I will be making a pencil mark all along here, and this will tell me where the bottom of my board needs to be. And I'll do this around the whole perimeter. And I'll do this around the whole perimeter. I'll make my pencil marks all the way around. And so I only have to do it once. And so when I go to put my 1x6 up on a wall, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 1x6 up, I'm going to tack it in. I'm not going to nail it home. I'm just going to tack it in so I can pull my measurements for all my uprights where they need to be. And that way I can start making my uprights. And then that'll be the next step. So I'll bring you in on that when the time comes. Now I have the bottom of this right on my pencil marks, right here. I've got them all temporarily tacked up all the way around. And you're probably wondering why I'm just temporarily tacking this up here. Because after I put my upright, okay, you're probably wondering why I'm only just tacking this up. But I'm having to turn off my camera and everything. The painters are here going in and out. But anyways, I'm having to, what I'm tacking this on for is when I cut my uprights, I have to evenly space them out. And then once I do that, I'm gonna have to slide my panel in behind them through the top. And then I'll put the top back on, and then it will all be done and secured. And I'll be able to permanently nail this up. So this is just to give me, so I can pull my measurements for all my uprights, all up and down here. So I'm gonna get after it. I'll bring you in on the next phase of it. Okay, things have changed up. I can't do my uprights yet until I go over with the supervisor on the spacing of them. We have a problem as far as how particular this homeowner is, and we have to sort of think like them in a way and figure out how we're gonna evenly space these out They are very specific that they want 16-inch panels, and everything doesn't space out properly. Plus there's like going to be one where this plug is, it splits it in half, and in order to move it over, then these two panels will be bigger than the other ones. So I got to wait until the supervisor, let me turn around this way. I have to wait until the supervisor comes here tomorrow to finish out the, to figure this out with me. And but I got plenty else to do. I can make all these flint blocks, and I can start rabbiting out the backs of all these uprights too, because there's going to be quite a few of them, quite a bit of it. So I could probably start doing that. Do 16-foot lengths of 1x4. Start rabbiting out the two sides. That way they'll be all ready for tomorrow. So I'll put you on my head and let you watch what I'm doing. Here we go. Yeah. Okay, this is what I wind up with on the 1x4s for all the uprights. What I did was I rabbited both sides here to allow for the paneling to go in, tuck in behind here, so that it would give just enough room for the paneling. Let me get a piece of paneling. So that once I get this on here, I'll be able to slide this panel right in behind here, just like that. And that's how it's going to sit in. Now, I am debating on whether I should cut this little tongue here so it fits in behind, so it gives me a nice flush edge. Do that on the top and bottom so that if there's anything behind here, behind the paneling, it won't push this seam out. It'll keep this seam nice and tight and flush. So I'm thinking I'm probably going to wind up doing that. Break out my dado blades on my saw and dado that profile on it right there, so it slides in right behind there. Keeps it nice and flush. I know it seems like an awful lot of work for just wainscoting, and a lot of guys wouldn't do this. They would probably pocket hole behind and screw it all together and then put the panels up against the wall. But the layout and everything else, I'm just finding that this will probably, after I have everything routed, will probably be a little bit easier once I have the layout and I have all these uprights cut to the way I need them, to the length I need them, put them up in their layouts. Then all I have to do is just cut the panel to size, slide each one in, put the top piece on, and nail it off. And I'll be done with it. So I'm thinking this is going to be probably the easier way. We'll find out at the end of the job. So I'll keep you in this all the way through this. I won't know until tomorrow. I won't be putting any of the panels in. So this will probably be, I'll probably add tomorrow into today's video because I don't have much filmed or very much videotaped right now. So we'll see how it works. I'll probably have to be editing a lot of this one out. There's just so much going on around here, and gonna have to probably edit out a lot of stuff, and there's probably gonna be probably a lot of sound taken out, music put in its place. So all right, let me get at it and get to more routing here. It's all repetition, so you probably won't need to see any more of what I've already done. I think you got the idea. So it gets dark out there. Let me go this way. There we go. So I'll see you in a little bit.